pull out a trees. It's time to pull out a secret strategy and, you know, bring it to Fnatic.
There's an interesting part to this as well, because it is the map choice of Fnatic, but Fnatic has not played it in 2018. HeroesHearth has significantly dropped off in the European scene. We have only seen it 7 times, and that makes this really interesting, because if you're HeroesHearth and you did your homework, you of course looked at maps and what are the priority picks for those maps. But then you look at Fnatic and you have nothing on HeroesHearth. So the only thing you can do is fall back to the 2017 meta, which is even before the big changes that came at the end of the year.
Well, and it's just like such a crazy thing, because yes, it has been really rough that Quacknex is gone, but it also, you know, brings all of these, the unknown. Right? We talked about how Bad Benny is a really good shot caller in Dragonshire, but that traditionally has not been a Fnatic map. But now that Bad Benny is a shot caller, maybe it's the same case with HeroesHearth, where, you know, how do you prep for a team that completely changes over one night, right? It has to put all of these IEM, you know, players in a rough position where you're doing prep, you know, because all these players are prepping weeks and months before, you know, recognizing, okay, this is a team that we may have to face. Let's watch all the film, and it's in a completely different team. It looks like Tyrael is going to be the first pick coming out for HeroesHearth. Blaze and Maiev are the bans. I mean, Tyrael, not the cheesiest heroes. Maybe we could see a backdoor strat. I mean, but he is a very strong hero on this map because of that level 13 Holy Ground. This map is all about boss control, and Tyrael is probably the best hero in the game at boss control.
When you say backdoor strat, are you also saying Juice Pirates, or?
I mean, that was the one that I was referring to, Juice Pirates, which is the medic as well as the Tyrael. And basically what you do is and plus 3 heroes that do a lot of, you know, PvE damage, so are really good on the keep and the core. So someone like a Raynor with that Hyperion. So what you generally do is you medevac to the keep, basically suicide all 5 of your lives. And the reason Tyrael is important that is you get 5 seconds of invulnerability, right? So within that signification, you're generally able to kill the keep. And then what you're doing is just off cooldown. So you die, and then every single time off cooldown, you just do that again. And generally it takes 3 lives, where you die once to get the keep, you die the second time, you get half of the core's HP, and the 3rd time you're able to actually finish the core. And it looks like Fnatic is going to go with the Greymane ETC. Calder, that seems like a very scary duo.
Yeah, and again, we come back to Breeze. So I've told an anecdote in the past, but let's talk quickly about not only BlizzCon, but also about the scrims that happened in China at GCWC. Every time Fnatic played against, back then, of course, the old roster, but the point still stands. Every time they played against a Korean team, in the first map, the Koreans would not ban ETC. Fnatic would first pick ETC and completely crush them, like absolutely destroy them with Breeze at the front line. And from that point on, the rest of the scrim session for the next 2 hours would always feature a ban on ETC immediately. So the meta has changed slightly since then, and ETC has not the same status anymore, but we've seen on the last map already how strong Fnatic is with him, and we haven't even seen Breeze on him. Bad Benny was strong on ETC, but Breeze is even better on the hero. And I feel the reason why it's picked is because the versatility that we talk with ETC is once again there. You can play him as a global, Bad Benny would play him then against potentially a Dehaka, or you can simply say, Breeze, go ham, and just simply give him the hero.
Go out into the wilderness. That Greymane as well, Sonic has been favoring it all day. Any chance that he gets, we've seen him use a couple of different builds, but also that Wizened Duel is coming out. Very, very strong, giving them a lot of that execution. I might think we also could see that Li Ming coming out again, working very well with the Greymane.
I mean, I feel like every single time I've talked about HeroesHearth, except for this series, I've mentioned Hanzo, because that is a hero in HGC that they've had so much success in, and time again, they haven't picked it, so I didn't bring it up this series, and now they finally pick it on my favorite map for the hero, right? Isn't that crazy how that works? But basically, Hanzo on this map with that W build, yes, it did get nerfed, but the PvE speed with which they can kill boss makes this hero really, really strong on this map, as well as Crowan is 8-0 on the hero, so the Zeratul ban, again, coming out by Fnatic, showing a lot of respect to McIntyre's Zeratul. I think it's a smart decision, basically saying, you know, what Calder alluded to earlier, basically, we don't practice versus this hero, why would we risk it?
Here's the thing though, now that we see a Nubarak as a ban, Harvard, because let's face it, Fnatic is currently drafting the exact same draft in the first game. If a Nubarak is banned out, what do you think about Abathur Genji?
I mean, that's terrifying. Like
against Hanzo? It seems like he's gonna have an insanely tough time if that happens.
I think if we get that Abathur Genji, yeah, it's just really formidable for HeroesHearth. How do you deal with that? You've got the Hanzo. Stormbow talent as well has been really preferred. It's very, very difficult to complete that with an Abathur in the game.
I mean, because I'm trying to think of solutions, and I feel like your Hanzo's going to die if you don't pick up a second support, most likely, right? And I'm not a big fan of a second support. I mean, so you have a couple options, right? You can either just say, okay, Hanzo's going to die in the team fight. We're just going to have to sack that and try to be able to turn with our other 4 heroes, which would probably be something like an Arthas and maybe a 3rd melee, right? maybe like Arthas Dahaka, maybe like Dahaka plus Kerrigan, something like that, where it's just fairly, okay, our Hanzo's dead, but we're going to turn that way. Or you go for like a Lili Dahaka and just get that, okay, the blinds and the heal, maybe we can keep the Hanzo alive.
I mean, you have one problem. If you go Abathek Genji, you don't have a support yet. So that would also put you in a position where you only have a frontliner in the form of ETC. So that is the downside if you try to go for that play. And they're just running the same strategy again that they had in the last map. I mean, you have a running draft already. Why change it? So a Nuburak is not available, but they can always go into another one. We have Li Ming
they're
and
doing it
Valkyrie
again.
and
The
ETC.
double support.
With Arthalon's Brightwing. The only other thing I was wondering about is if maybe we'd put McIntyre on the Tyrael, and then we'd get the Hanzo Diablo destruction comp of Doom for Heroes Hearth, though this isn't really the map that we see it on from them, but that was what I was wondering about. What's up?
I just had a brain realization. What if this is, you know, so you know with Genji Brightwing, you have the delivery of the Emerald Wind. What if this is a leap delivery of the Emerald Wind? And that might be reaching. But
If you wouldn't have told me before that you play for GFE,
you would have,
that would be the moment where I'm like, I have a bit of an idea.
Wait. You're suggesting Brightwing Leap?
No, okay, so
Brightwing...
Brightwing.
So-
Please.
Yeah. So with the Sonya, and then
Yeah.
the Brightwing is TPing, and then you get the Emerald Wind to split the team. I mean, I feel like it actually could be a pretty good combo. Or, I mean, okay, so it probably will be Wrath, guys. This is me just hoping and dreaming. Something I do really want to point out: Fnatic, they're running it back, right? If it works, don't fix it. That is a really important strategy that, in competitive, you need to keep in mind. The Diablo Breeze in that Temple Storm series showed how strong he is on that hero. I absolutely love the pick, and you have ETC for the global post 10.
The reason why I asked is because Brightwing and Sonya Leap are like two of my favorite things in the entire world, but the Diablo's now playing for Fnatic. As I was talking about before, a lot of the Hanzo success that Crowan had wasn't all geared toward the Diablo synergy, but with the Dragon's Arrow into Apocalypse, that was a big part of that, and then you added Tassadar to that, but this isn't the Battleground where generally you see that. There's a look on this face here.
You know my feelings about certain heroes.
I will give you this. I will
Welcome.
give you this. She has not been that impactful for Heroes Hearth in the past. It's a mixed bag.
Okay, I'm going to be really polite here. I think Brightwing is not very good. I have other words that I could use, but then I'm still in kick range, so I'm not doing that.
She's going to give you a hoa right back if you don't stop.
She knows me so well.
I honestly think that draft, I really don't like Heroes Hearth drafts. I really think, I mean, to put it in one word, I think it's crap. They are welcome to prove me wrong and to show me that I have no idea what I'm talking about, but Fnatic has shown how strong their own draft is, that they're comfortable with it. I think changing an Uberok for Diablo is not going to change that a lot. If Breeze hits 16, they have a lot of trouble here, and I'm really not a fan of a double support Brightwing right now. I feel in a new patch, she might become stronger, but right now I don't believe in her.
Well, we'll get your prediction in a second, though I think I
What
know
could
what
it
it
be?
is.
What could it be?
What could it be, Mike, down at the end?
So the more I think about it, I do think it is a Leap Emerald Wind. Because no, I'm dead serious. Like I actually am dead serious.
Okay.
This isn't even mean
Be
because
still, like-
because if they were gonna pick there are other heroes that fill that Wrath role or that second support role even better, right? And I just don't think it's gonna be enough. I'm gonna give it to Fnatic.
I feel like you might be a bit of a dreamer. I'm not really sure.
Am I a dream? Am I just in my own little land? Wait until level 10
We'll
when
wait,
it happens. I can't wait to come back to the
I
analyst
wanna
desk
see
after, and
it.
I'm just like, what were you guys saying?
Yeah, who said this? All right, in terms of my prediction, I am favoring Fnatic. I saw the way Breeze's Diablo played earlier in the day, and that was good enough to convince me that they've got this series. Sorry, not this series, this game in the bag. Jumping the gun.
I said, oh. No, I really, I mean, Min on Li Ming, you have Sonic on Greymane. They
Yeah.
played really well together. They have the stun set up. Yes, an Uburak not being there, and it gives Rega a chance to get the Ancestral through because there's no Cocoon, but Breeze with Diablo should have the CC available to play around bosses, around curses, and tribute. So I feel Fnatic has this.
Though I hope I'm wrong, and that the Leap Emerald Wind doesn't work, if that's what's going to happen.
Convince you to vote for them?
I've seen the Genji Brightwing, and Genji is the classic, right, for the Brightwing bomb, and I've seen it from them, and it also did not work out the best for them. They have gotten a win with the Brightwing, but it's not a guarantee. The way Fnatic played, I can't but help but vote for Fnatic. So I'm going to stick with Fnatic. I'm going to get so much crap during the game.
Mark that in your calendar. That has
So
never
much
happened
crap
before.
during the game. Haven't even gotten to the game. I'm getting so much crap. very favored toward Fnatic, and after that last performance, it's easy to see why. Let's see what Heroes Hearth can do to combat that as we go into Game 2 with Jayhow and Dreadnought.
Dread, you'd all said if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And it looks pretty reminiscent of Game 1. Is there any fixing needed for this?
I don't think so. You know, with the way Breeze was smacking around North America earlier today on the Dibbles, I am confident that we are going to see Fnatic bringing a lot of action here in this Game 4 Cursed Hollow.
I really want to see Heroes Hearth do something a little bit different macro-wise. I think they can try and avoid a fight, but it is going to be Fnatic bringing that fight to us here on the left side in blue, as it's going to be Sonic on Greymane, Breeze on Diablo, Smexy on Malfurion, Mene on Liming, and Bad Benny on ETC.
In the red is going to be Heroes Hearth running the double support composition. We have Ishbu playing Tyrael, Crowan on Hanzo, BBJ on Rhaegar, McIntyre playing the Sonya, and Arthalon on Brightwing. So we know that this is a playstyle, a composition, you know, a flavor that Heroes Hearth has been comfortable playing in the past, Jayhow. It's been a map that seems like it has been, or excuse me, not a map, but a strategy that has been go-to and reminiscent. Gillyweed, it seemed like she had, you know, maybe some of her doubts. Do you share the same sentiment? I think that Jayhow.
Yeah, sorry, had a minor malfunction back here, but we're back. There was something about some Brightwing play here.
I was asking, you know, we've seen this before from Heroes Hearth, right? Gilly, I feel like we heard some of her kind of doubt. I was just wondering if you shared the same. Nice flip. They're coming out from Breeze onto Arthalon, but not going to have the root quite yet there from Smex.
Yeah, I think the whole thing about it is what we just saw. We're seeing a little bit of a change up here for Heroes Hearth, trying to get some advantage in the play. Because Fnatic, and this is something you have to look at objectively, right? You can keep Liming or Greymane in that situation. Greymane has better individual wave clear and staying in that front line. Liming has better kill potential and following up potentially that Diablo into the roots, and you get that big Liming combo. But what you do give up is the potential of the push split from Sonya and BBJ and team up here in the top. And that trades out better to have that auto attack damage onto the structures than it would be a Liming fitting into that 3-man.
Interesting situation there. Arthalon is going to be the one who teleports up towards top, though, to help support McIntyre and friends when it comes to this. What that will enable is, you know, the Brightwing teleport possibly to come up before the next objective if necessary, but we know that Tribute's going to be up on top. Fnatic picked up their Giants. The Heroes Hearth goes a bit of a different route. Uses the Rhaegar and Sonya. Man, that's an old school strategy on Curse. Back out with your Rhaegar Sonya back at the old school healing ward level 1. Kicking it old school for Heroes Hearth, and understandably so. Got some veterans on their roster.
Back out with your Rhaegar out. Now we're going to see that push middle. And now Liming doesn't do well to kind of deal with that. But the fact that they have a Liming Greymane on the side of Fnatic, they have so much to deal with whatever Heroes Hearth wants to bring. If you want to push down a lane, they have a lot that can defend really well into those. They gave up a bit in the early game. But I think when it comes to these advantages, Heroes Hearth, they're going to fall a little bit short on these. The one thing that they've done timing-wise, by getting that middle camp, it buys them time to go back and get their Siege camp. And as you talked about, the Siege Giants now being picked up at the bottom with the Tribute up at the top, that will be spawning in 3 minutes. They might be able to get some value out of that.
This does bring a little bit of concern, though. Not so much right now for me, but in the future, judging how these mercenaries are not going to be overly, I feel like, beneficial for Heroes Hearth. Yeah, they are looking to be able to kind of baby them, enable them through this lane. Many out a little bit too far, but I don't think even if the spear hits, that's enough damage, though. You know, what I was going to say is because they do have this double support composition, I think it is dire that whenever they pick up heroics that they cannot waste them, that they need to make sure that they capitalize them because they do struggle in the macro sense. Yeah, Brightwing does have a global, but ETC will as well. And Brightwing actually is she's one of the best at surviving in solo lane. She's absolutely poor when it comes to the wave clear defending the siege. She just can hold her own and not lose XP, and that is going to be a problem as the game moves forward.
Yeah, and we've seen kind of that Echo Pedal build, which if you're an ETC, yeah, you're not going to get the best wave clear, but Echo Pedal definitely allows you to stay in there. Ishbu just used his Eldruins. The flip just missed into the wall, but he's completely zoned out by the roots. I'm a little bit surprised Ishbu decided to go in without the rest of his team there.
Yeah, it's just definitely a miscommunication or some kind of, not understanding of information conveyed there for Heroes Hearth, and it comes at the cost of Ishbu. Nice interrupt there from Heroes Hearth, but it's really going to just stall the inevitable. Arthalon postured for one more delay, and it might cost him his life. The flip was there, the body block coming out, and that is something that is part of the reason, when we see Brightwing pits, there's a lot of fear, and it's based on that exact element there. She is extremely susceptible to getting picked off. Not having the mount, everybody has the opportunity to gap close. If she doesn't have somebody to get a dismount and help her get out of there, she's probably going to be one dead fairy dragon.
Look, there's a certain element of who am I willing to risk going out to kind of get that little bit of an interrupt for. Diablo is not that person. You can actually see he got the flip back. Diablo's hitbox is gigantic. It's one of the largest in the game. So So when you're up against that gate thinking, I think I can walk past you to get back in, Diablo's like, nope.
Yeah, it's a pretty easy deny there. McIntyre did overextend a little bit here. Body blocks coming out from Benny, but the friends in Hanzo in the rotation is going to be able to beat out Diablo. Nice scout there with the arrow. So Brightwing is going to stick up towards top, but Greymane has a huge advantage in that lane in terms of pushing. Again, Brightwing will be able to hold it and get experience, but she will not be able to stop this Greymane from making too much damage happen to the front wall. And this is going to give Fnatic a huge lead, especially if we see Breeze get a kill here. Actually, he might have overextended there with that shadow charge. Nice cleanse from BBJ to stop the root. The bite, but the scattering arrow, not enough damage.
That was so close. So close to going in favor of HeroesHearth. They didn't quite have the pop there. You know, we actually see Hanzo, had he gone into the sharpened arrowheads, he might have been able to go. There's Breeze actually using that. That right there, I've got to see that again. He did not use the shadow charge onto the hero. He did it onto the minion to close that gap. And now he is busting this game wide open single-handedly.
BBJ is going to get a teleport from Arthalon, but even if the polymorph was there, it's not going to be enough to keep anybody alive. Root is going to land onto Arth. Nice polymorph use there, but they way before us to get the pushback. Twilight Dream, Moonburn for one from Smex. Not going to get the kill onto Arth, but McIntyre, I don't think shares the same fate here. 3 magic missiles are going to connect. 5-0 in kills here. A full level and a half, almost 2 here for Fnatic. And now they've got to back out, pick up a boss, and later on that tribute spawning on their side. This is very much Fnatic's map to win.
Breeze is... I don't even know what to say to that. That entire segment was initiated by Breeze going in on a minion.
Yeah.
Literally going in on a minion. How can I best effectively use this hero? I mean, there's a reason that Breeze is regarded as probably one of the best tanks in the world. And we already saw Diablo earlier. We're seeing it again. This guy is absolutely terrifying.
The boss picked up now for Fnatic. The tribute obviously going to be an easy pick, but HeroesHearth is going to be able to pick up their boss within a reasonable time frame. This is a moment where the Fnatic did have a colossal lead, but only picking up the boss I feel like is not as much as they would have liked to. You know, at least posturing to zone off of this boss in the upper half, threatening out would have been the ideal scenario for a full level at that point in time. Also, the minion wave seemed to be a little bit stacked towards HeroesHearth, so experience on reserve. But with the pressure out, we see ETC going to pick up a free pickup here. Curse point now for Fnatic. And we still see Brightwing looking to get the clear. Bosses seem to be the focus. But I can't help but reiterate, because we saw it already once come to life, but if it keeps continuing as a trend, it's going to only get worse and worse. Wait a minute here, the flank up on top.
The flank up on top, they're trying to see if they can find something on the backside. The teleport in, there's the dragon arrow, but the stage dive on the backside, and Breeze going back in with the APOC. That is the absolute deletion of double supports there, and you can see the silence coming in. McIntyre and Crowan, they're running for their lives, but I don't think they're gonna make it out with them.
The smite is enough mobility to at least help Ishbu not be able to drop away from that power slide. McIntyre uses the poison, or this ancient spear over the wall, spinning the wind to keep himself alive with that whirlwind. A brilliant initiation there from Fnatic, specifically Breeze. The ability to turn around that APOC charge against the wall and get the one shot. Man, he puts on a clinic here onto Diablo. It's insane. You were talking about he's, you know, known as one of the best warriors in the world, but I can't help but feel like after this tournament, I'm looking at probably the best, if not definitely top 2 Diablos in the world. I mean, there's very few good Diablo players, and this guy's insane.
He literally re-engages with about 20% health. He's like, I got souls, I'll come back, but he knows he trades out better there into the choke points. Dread, I got bad news for HeroesHearth and the fans out there. Diablo is far scarier post 13 and 16.
Yeah.
Devastating charge at 13. You get that, you stack that up, you do that percentage-based damage. There's a lot of terrain for him to bounce him around. You get that reset with your overpower at 16. You basically go full bam bam, right? If you remember the old Flintstones, you just bam bam. Or you might know somebody else from Heroes of the Storm.
You know,
Bam Bam.
there was a guy I used to play against who might go under the name of Bam Bam. But, you know, I hate to worsen the tale, but I'm just trying to be honest here. Fnatic, it gets worse in the fact that they have not only the experience with the 2-level lead, this curse of the ability to be able to pressure out. And if we look at how these fights are kind of unfolding with the Brightwing bomb being the intent, if you will, we're yet to see a circumstance where they're going to be able to get the Brightwing polymorph. Nice interrupt on the shadow charge. There's the Emerald Wind attempt, but immediately Twilight Dream from Specs. And he looks at HeroesHearth in the eyes and says, we're not having any of that.
This is a clinic. This draft, there it goes, the charge in again. He gets it over. Crowan's going to be the target. That is 4 members down. Breeze is just saying, guys, these shoulders are gigantic. Do you see this Hulk that I am on? Follow me. Let's go.
They were so aggressive, and that is going to accumulate a 9-minute keep. It's not enough damage within the composition for them to threaten core at this point in time, but I can't help but feel like if that wasn't a double warrior with a Li Ming who's kind of questionable at this stage of the game to record damage, that would be absolutely marching right on in. Now, 3.5 level leads, something we rarely say in competitive Heroes of the Storm. We almost never say at international tournaments. Fnatic, really, I mean, at this point, HeroesHearth, the only way to really come back is going to be 13 into some kind of miracle play. I would normally be like boss control just because we have the 13 Holy Ground picked up. We have Sanctification. We have the Emerald Win. Iceblock is going to be a great tool for Arth to hopefully get the first Emerald Win of the game, really. But it still seems a little grim.
It seems grim. And, you know, during the draft, you and I are talking about this composition, right? We're talking about Tyrael first pick, which is the route that HeroesHearth went. And I'm not a huge fan of it. The win rate doesn't speak for it. And Tyrael overall, he lacks. And what you said is initiation. The good thing is we've seen a lot of Law and Order, but we have the Holy Ground here. Talk about boss control, that also plays. But it also gives you that choke point to get in there. They have that at their advantage, but they find themselves basically behind the 8 ball. They're 3 levels down on Cursed Hollow to a team that only gets stronger as they go through. Bad Benny just kind of hangs out. What are you really going to do at this point? You don't have that initiation with this team, I think, to find multiple options. You know what I mean?
I agree with you. And HeroesHearth was, you know, we talked about it. I talked about it in the last game, and their playstyle has shown that they're comfortable taking those heavily disadvantaged fights if they think it's their best. And I can't help but feel like that's going to be around a boss. But unlike most matches on Cursed Hollow, this one is so far experience-wise and structurally in favor of Fnatic that I don't know if Fnatic even has to, you know, that kind of all-in, do we take this boss fight? They literally could give up both, 3 of them, I think, and the game would still be even. And so that is showing like how many opportunities for forgiveness I feel like Fnatic has. So more often than not, it seems like HeroesHearth has to wait until they make a mistake. You see them trying to force the boss because, again, this is all that they can do to make the comeback in this game.
And I don't think that they have to take this, but they've got to worry about APOC coming in here. Breeze and team. The only way that they lose this is to get baited into something like this. As you just said, between catapults and the fact that this is only an 11-minute boss, yeah, you're going to give up a fort. But in the long run, who cares?
Look at this flank, too. They're not afraid of this. Arthalon immediately gets initiated on pre-cleanse for BBJ. The Ice Block to keep him alive. Emerald Wind is going to be used, but he dies before it even gets off reset. 1, 2, 3. Fnatic is just unleashing on HeroesHearth.
I am at a loss for words there as the Twilight Dream just kind of sealed the deal on the backside. Sonic, LeBeast, and Mene on that backside. Dread, this is one of the deadliest combos that I have seen in a while. We are looking at a 3.5 level lead. Dread, this is 18 kills to 1.
It was ridiculous because for the first time we saw HeroesHearth adjust to the situation. BBJ walks up, gets a pre-cleanse to Arthalon. For the first time, Arth is not one shot, and they still are able to turn it once he drops to the Ice Block. The Emerald Wind cast time is just too long to be able to survive. HeroesHearth, if there's a silver lining remaining, it's that 16 talent tier is achievable. I'm not confident they will, but it's definitely possible, which earlier in the stages, especially after the wipe, I questioned if Fnatic would be able to move to core. There is no curse yet, but that top boss. 16 talent tier, boss fight before the 20 spike, that is the best fight for them, but Fnatic, they're not even going to consider it.
They're just going to dive under this spell armor. This is one of the best things they have going for them. They're just going to feint out a little bit. Dragon Zero comes out, but they get the flip. McIntyre on the front side.
HeroesHearth cannot go too far past that keep.
No, not at all.
There are so many times that we see Europe loving to kind of bait an interest into an objective and just go, you want to dabble a little bit farther? Just, you know, just you put it, it's like a dollar bill on a fish hook and you're just kind of pulling it away every time they bend over to pick it up, you know? And Fnatic, they just never give it over. And then the minute you overextend a little bit too far, yeah, and Breeze just does what he does best, shadow charge one shot.
Dread, be honest with me.
Okay.
You've chased that dollar before?
You're right. I feel like I still am, I'll be honest, man.
Well, either way, 20 here, almost for Fnatic. They're just going to hang out a little bit. Tribute spawning rather quickly here. And if you're on the side of HeroesHearth, I mean, Fnatic can get 20 off this and they just pretty much walk up to core, look for an opportunity, and they found those opportunities.
Good night, my sweet prince.
Yeah, Arthalon. You just kind of got to sit and watch at this point. I mean, the combo missed. That one didn't.
Boss is picked up, though. That could be, you know, I would like to say a silver lining, but I think the game's over. Fnatic's already onto the core. Sanctification, or excuse me, APOC is already going to be dropped. We do have Twilight Dream still available. Shielding is going to be dropped. Smeg's falling very, very low. He doesn't have the Ice Block. No, he does. Last second going to use it, but not enough HP. He does not get the Twilight Dream off. Shielding on the core gone. Can they actually do this?
BBJ is under assault by Sonic. BBJ, I don't know if he's going to make it out of there. He goes down. The shielding as well is down, but Malfurion and Li Ming have both fallen here. If HeroesHearth can survive for a moment, this is not a good start. Ishbu's going to get away because the catapults are more threatening than anything else. If you lose the heroes, there's not a lot of damage, but the catapults are there. McIntyre has Arthalon coming in. This is kind of crazy right now, Dreadnought.
So what it was Fnatic doing a very clever play, understanding that the boss is going to be the focus. We see Arthon to the side lane looking, you know, to be able to get that side soak and not get the teleport upwards. You see the initiation forced in, but because the boss is picked up and then the overextension and the chaos kind of ensue with that rotation and the time bought by Ice Block, they at least hold off the game.
Dread, they do more than hold off the game. They're down all 3 keeps, okay? But if you're HeroesHearth, you're actually okay with this because that was the only way you stay in the game.
Yeah, I mean,
that is literally
absolutely
the only way. And that is the only way Fnatic, because now you are hard reset on tributes. Fnatic can't just, hey, look, we've got the curse, we're gonna do this. The top right boss was taken, the bottom left boss is gonna be still a minute out. And by then, HeroesHearth could get 20, possibly.
Likely, because a lot of the minions going to be pressuring out. Actually, I don't know if I want to say lightly. It's going to be a close race there. But I want to kind of raise a bigger question here. As though I agree with you, this is good because they are able to hold it out, extend it a little bit farther, but there is not enough wave clear. And I talked about the crippling Brightwing and the global. Yes, it's a global, but it's not going to be able to stop 3 lanes of catapults. No one can defend this. So Fnatic, they don't even have to consider the boss. They can keep just going onto HeroesHearth and go, we're ready for the battle. Wait, remember that dollar bill on the ground? I feel like Fnatic's letting it down right here. Here's a $5. HeroesHearth, you want one?
It's going to be watch for Breeze. He's the Diablo player. He's kind of waiting, looking for an opportunity. And when he goes, the whole team goes. And you see the big combos going out. The minute that spell armor's down on that knight, from that mage providing that spell armor, they back out. As you said, there's a lot of teams that will stay a little bit too long. Fnatic, they wanted to see if they could create an opportunity. They didn't.
Look at this. So 3-man anchoring to make sure that nobody on HeroesHearth can contest this boss if they ever want to. Now Greymane and Malfurion are going to pick it up and start it right out the gates. Nobody can interrupt that whatsoever unless 20 is a cheap play of the game all in. That's the only way you can stop this boss. Somebody needs the flank. You see Tyrael questioning, can they make the rotation? I believe that to be Ishbu now making that transition. There's the Dragon's Arrow. Boss falling 50%. That's picked up. That's game, but they're going to force.
Benny just blinked out of there, and with this boss sitting at about 20% health, HeroesHearth is recognizing it. They're gonna know too late. Malfurion goes down, puts the roots down. Perfect.
That was enough to lock it in. The boss is going to march towards the core. 17 seconds. Catapults already onto the core. 3 catapults have already made it to the core. Fnatic and friends are going to move up, and it's a death march at this point.
I mean, I'd like to say that if you're HeroesHearth, there's a chance, but I've never seen a situation like this that is possible for them to come back.
They're doing this brilliantly. If they manage to hold
fighting
up
in the lane,
survive ancestral use.
This is happening.
Emerald Wind is interrupted.
Arthalon, that polymorph saved Arthalon for the moment, but he ends up going down there. The shields are here. Hanzo does not have Dragon Arrow to get back into this. The massive silence.
2 members dead. Fnatic having the full 5-man, a third to follow up, and there's no way they can hold off any longer. An absolute bloodbath, full with more of North American blood than the other way around. 25-3. Fnatic put themselves 1